So I think we're going to Amy next for some ideas around sustainable swaps at home.
Hiya. So I have a few little bits of examples and things like that I'll bring up in a second. In terms of how I kind of got into doing the more sustainable swap element, it was basically a New Year's resolution. I wanted to be more sustainable in everything that I do at home. So I made conscious decisions in swapping specific items around the house. So the first one I've got is like cleaning products and things like that. So you have your help if I was on non-blur. Oh, wow. There you go. Basically, you have sort of a bottle for life, if you like, and then you get your refills, like Zaflora or other brands, and you fill it into your spray bottle, and then you just fill it up with water. And it's really good for just a general cleaning product and things like that. There's loads in the market, and I just found that's a really useful way of kind of cutting out all of the bottles that I'm buying, instead of just kind of swapping it for a smaller one. It's like a concentrated sort of liquid that's inside it, so it's really good and it smells amazing. Another bit that I've changed as well is obviously when you bring your lunch to work, I've gone for the bees wrap sort of wraps, so just kind of wrap up in a sandwich, use it the same way as a cling film or a cellophane kind of thing. I've got a bamboo lunchbox that I use quite regularly, and I've also got bamboo knives and forks. So they're quite useful to have. Again, it's just a way of cutting out plastic. Obviously, general kind of lunchboxes aren't single-use plastic, but again, it's just really good to kind of think ahead and try to get rid of and reduce the plastic that is just generally in the household. Obviously, it's a lot easier to find sustainable swaps for bathroom products and things. So for shampoo, I have switched to a shampoo bar. Again, that cuts out bottles, which is great. And it's actually not bad. It actually just clean your hair, it smells nice, and it makes my hair feel quite nice too. And I've also switched to a refillable hair conditioner that gets delivered by my milkman, which is quite funny. So basically, you just use all of the liquid, you put the bottle back outside, you say, yes, I'd like a refill, and they'll fill it up for you next time they come around and deliver your milk. So that brings me on to the milkman kind of element. It's called Milk and More, but I think, again, there's loads of different brands and companies that do this now, especially where I live in Southampton. It's quite nice to have it there. They deliver about 3 times a week, and it's basically like Christmas. You open the front door and then there's magical milk basically that's appeared. They also do loads of other bits and pieces like juice, pastries. To run out of toilet roll is a really handy thing to have in your back pocket. So that's a really nice option as well. Another key thing that I was really surprised at, or not really surprised, but I was kind of very determined to reduce, was kind of like skin products and, again, bottles and things that you throw away with that sort of element. So I've switched to a skincare label which is made out of glass, which obviously then you can recycle. It's all kind of like vegan as well, so all of the ingredients are as environmentally friendly as possible. Another key thing that I've done is gone to sustainable deodorant. It was quite risky in terms of the move. I didn't know if it was going to work, but I can say it definitely does, and I really enjoy it as well. So you get these sort of little refills every so often. They're made out of cardboard, and then you just pop them inside your tin container. They smell amazing. There's loads of different flavours and smells out there. But yeah, I use Wild deodorant. I'd really recommend it. I think that's about it, apart from, I suppose, reusable makeup wipes and bits and pieces like that. So I don't use kitchen roll. I can use just a kind of a cloth, if you like. I don't use any wipes at all, like makeup removers or anything like that. It's all down to like cloths. But yeah, so that with swaps.
That's brilliant, Amy. And Amy, I was just thinking we should be putting these little snippets up on the sustainability page so that people can just dip into those and think, oh, actually, what was that thing Amy said about the children?
I'll write you a list.
Great ideas there. Some really good ideas. I know we probably don't want to be brand promoting, but
but I think brands are available.
Any questions for Amy? Or anyone want to share some of the ideas they've been doing at home?
No, we've just looked at the refillable cleaning things. So they do washing powder as well. You can get everything through them. So we're just looking to sign up on that. I guess those of us who are sort of of a certain age will remember when there used to be an electric milk float that delivered all your milk. Obviously been around too long, the wheel's going round again, isn't it?
Well, I grew up on a dairy farm. We just used to take the jig out. Okay, Andy, then Eleanor.
Cool. I've been slightly gazumped on this one because Debbie was going to talk about this, but I've actually grabbed them. Have I got my camera turned on? The sponges, because we talked about how to kind of, so we get all our kind of cleaning products from someone who delivers them through the post in cardboard wrapping with no plastic or anything involved in them. But these sponges, so this one is cellulose and loofah, and this one is cellulose and coconut. If I'm being entirely honest, this one's rubbish. Because you coat everything in a thin film of coconut fry. But this one's brilliant. Can't fault this at all. The cleaning stuff is also really good, and we're both quite smell sensitive, so it's not horrible, which is no mean feat, and it works. You know, the washing liquid works, the dishwasher tablets work, all those kinds of things. But yeah, I just thought I'd chip in on that since I'd gone through to the kitchen to grab them.
That's brilliant, Andy. Eleanor.
I've got a laundry egg, which is quite good. You refill it with beads and it goes in your laundry. It's about 70 washes, which is quite good. But we've also got a refill shop. So every time, so I work around New Milton, there's one in New Milton. And so luckily I sort of have a lunch break and I drop my stuff into the refill shop and I label my little list and say I like this much pasta and this much flour or whatever in these particular containers, shampoos, conditioners, pretty much everything they've got now, cereals, raisins, all the stuff. And I just drop them in there and then come back again in half an hour and they've refilled them all for me. And so I don't have to buy anything that's in plastic. I've also got a farm shop which opens Fridays and Saturdays, which is just in Sway. So you literally, they pick it out of the ground and put it in their shop straight there. And you just go in with your net bags and you come away. So if you're being really good in a week, you can barely fill a black Ben bag. It's brilliant. That, and same with like the butchers, if you bring your own container, they will fill it type of thing. So that's pretty useful. You do have to be quite organised though, and that is one thing I will struggle with generally, is being organised with every week I need to make sure I get to the shop or whatever. So unfortunately the Sainsbury's shop does sometimes jump in there, but even cheeses they used to just put in the container for you. I think with COVID they don't have a cheese counter anymore, unfortunately. We also sometimes make our own yoghurt because we go through a lot of yoghurt. The Easy Yo things, they're not lovely, but they're good enough. You just get the packet and it makes like a gallon or some big tub of yoghurt as opposed to buying lots of little plastic tubs of yoghurt. So we try, but only when I'm organised. It's probably maybe once every 2 weeks that I actually achieve this, and the other 2 weeks are a bit more plastic centred, unfortunately.
I'm exactly the same. I think organisation is key, isn't it? When you're trying to be more sustainable, you need to think about a bit ahead of what you actually need. So if you're going past the refill shop, take your glass jar to go and get it done and things like that. I struggle with that all the time.
Yeah. Well, none of us are perfect. Yes.
Yeah, I just wondered about, because I know I personally looked at Milk and More because we have that in Reading, but obviously with the cost of living going up, I'm just curious because, you know, has it cost more, that kind of thing? Because I think, you know, I've got so many staff that are so conscious of the cost of living at the moment, and yet they want to do things, and it is that balance. So I'm wondering if you've noticed you've spent more on milk, bread, juice, whatever from Milk and More or whatever, you know, other brands available.
Yeah, I think I have spent slightly more because obviously if you go to Aldi, you can buy like a pint of milk for like under £1.50. But on Milk and More, I'm probably buying 2 because they're a lot smaller for about £2.10 or something like that. So I think it's all relative. For example, that you can buy more for cheap, but then you have to buy also you have to buy more for more expensive kind of thing. You have to kind of weigh it up in terms of how important that kind of element is. I think I am going to make that decision soon. Though I need to do a bit of a recce to see through my bank statements to see how much I am spending on Milk and More.
It is a good point, but not all of it, I guess, is more expensive. But yeah, it's not as accessible for everybody. Andy?
Yeah, no, I was going to agree with Amy on that. It is slightly more expensive. It's not massively. It actually makes me, because we get our milk delivered by a local farm as well, which again makes me feel old because it's like it used to be and in pretty much the same bottles as it was when I was. Although it's got actual screw-on lids, which is brilliant because it means the birds don't get in them. But there was a comment I heard from someone, and it was about clothes rather than this kind of thing. They said, there is no such thing as cheap clothes. Someone somewhere is paying for it, and if it's not you, someone else is. And that really struck a chord with me. Is that some of this stuff is cheaper, but it's because someone somewhere down the line isn't getting paid for it, and that kind of helps me kind of reinforce my belief that this stuff's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So some great ideas there. I mean, towards the end of this session, we're going to commit to some sustainability action. So I think I'm going to personally use one of those ideas a month and see whether I can build it into my routine and do some home swaps myself. I think that there's some brilliant ideas in there. Thank you.